Welcome to Talking Black and Blue, the bonus edition, Michigan versus Ohio State. I'm your man, Will McCann, and along with my partner, Tellis Everett, we're a couple of fans from the heart of the Midwest, bringing you real talk and weekly breakdowns. This week, Michigan versus Ohio State. So, whether you wear scarlet and steel or whether you wear maize and blue, you are in the right place. So sit back, strap in, and let's talk Michigan versus Ohio State. Tell us, my man, let's get it started, my man. Tell me what your thoughts are about the history of Michigan versus Ohio State.
Yes, sir. So for me, growing up as a lad in Michigan, this has always been a great game, always has implications. When I was growing up and when you were growing up, the implication was whoever wins is going to the Rose Bowl. And
Going to the Rose
The
Bowl, right?
Rose Bowl was the bowl to
The
be in,
bowl, that's
right?
right.
So this is just a fun time. The networks are already promoting it
Yes, they are. Yes, they were like crazy. They
like
were.
crazy,
Yes, yes,
right? And it's got all the legacy, and there's a really close rivalry. Michigan and Ohio State. Michigan is leading the rivalry. It's 62 to 51. There's six ties in the history. So it's so close, and there have been so
yes,
many great players and coaches and eras
yes,
that
yes,
we could spend a lot of time talking about just the history of the game. But my
yes.
favorite era is the Woody and Bo.
Woody versus Bo, man. How could it
Yep,
not
yep,
be?
yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite era,
You
and
and
it
I are
was
a couple of old heads, bro. We are old heads for
right,
sure.
right, right. But it was very competitive, and no
Yeah,
one had an edge over the other. It was,
yeah,
Michigan won five of those games, Ohio State won four, and there was one tie. So those 10 years was just pure, pure
pure
competition.
smash mouth
Yep,
college football, the pageantry of it all, the emotion of it all, the
yep.
players being into it, the crowds being into it. That game is what college football is all about. You're absolutely right, my man.
Yeah. And it always falls at the end of the season or toward the end
Yeah.
of the Big Ten season.
It's the
So
last game of the season.
it had those implications, right? And
Yeah,
then when you're talking about the Big Ten itself and then also nationally.
yeah,
So it is and has been a must watch game for most of my life.
yes, it has. And like I said, during our show last week, man, I didn't even grow up in Michigan. I didn't grow up in Ohio. I grew up in Missouri, my guy, in
Hmm.
St. Louis, but this was the game. Man, I go all the way back. You talked about Woody versus Bo. That was my favorite era also. I'm a
Yeah.
big Dennis Franklin fan, man. Dennis Franklin was the first black quarterback at Michigan.
Hmm.
Homie was 32-1 his 3 years starting at Michigan. The
Nice.
only three games he did not win was two losses and a tie to Ohio State. I
Yeah.
remember the first game was like 14-11. The next game they tied the next year, and I forget he lost that third game also. But man, those were battles. Those were the early Woody versus Bo years. Just battles, man. And back in those days, it was the Rose Bowl, or you didn't go to a bowl at all, right?
Right.
The Big
Exactly.
Ten had the rule back then where the only team who went to a bowl game was the winner of the conference.
Yep.
And that game always came down to, I know my dad used to, because we lived in Big Eight country, right? My
Okay.
dad would always say the Big Ten really was the Big Eight and the Little Two, right?
For a long time, it was that, right?
Because that game really did come down to decide who was going to the Rose Bowl and who was going to have their heart broken. Because the
Right.
other team didn't even get to go to a bowl game. And many of those years, those would be two undefeated teams that
Hmm.
came in to face each other, and one team wouldn't even get a bowl game. In fact, the year that they tied, the Big Ten voted on who was going to the Rose Bowl, and they voted Ohio State in. Yeah. I
Hmm.
remember the Archie Griffin years, man, and just what a
Okay.
great player he was, man. The only two-time Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah, just a great rivalry, man. The pageantry of it all, like you said, 119 times these two. This will be the 119th time these two teams have met. 109th consecutive time that they have
Hmm.
met,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yep,
yeah, this is the rivalry that defines what college football is all about, man.
exactly. And it still lives today, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Still
does.
lives today. And this game coming up has huge implications as well. And we'll get into that.
Well, yes, we will. Yes, we will. You know, we normally do our show. We're talking about the NFC North. Um, as the this game relates to the NFC North, there are players from both of these schools that are on teams that are in our division. Talk about some of the players in the division that went to these two schools.
Well, yeah, so you got Aiden
Let's
Hutchinson.
start with the Lions and the guys who went to these two schools that played at who are on these teams that went to these two schools.
Right, yeah. So you got Aiden Hutchinson, uh, Taylor Decker, Tylik Williams. Uh, I mean, those are some standout guys, and they're all involved in helping the Lions and do what they do. So, uh, yeah, you can't go wrong there.
Right. The Lions have Taylor Decker, a first round pick, 2016 from Ohio State. Graham
Yep.
Glasgow, a 2016 third round pick from Michigan. Aiden Hutchinson, the second overall pick in 2022 from Michigan. Jamarco Jones was a tackle at Ohio State. He was a late draft pick who's kind of bounced around and is a depth guy who's on the
Hmm.
practice squad for the Lions. And this year, like you said, the Lions selected Tyleik Williams. We've talked about him several times this year. He was a late first round draft pick in 2025. So the Lions have guys who have participated in this rivalry on their
Right.
team. And
Yep.
the
Yep.
Chicago Bears and some of their guys who have participated in this rivalry.
Well, I got Jake Moody. I don't see anybody else. So you might have a little bit deeper knowledge on
Yeah,
Chicago Bears for me.
Jake Moody was actually a third round. He kicked at Michigan. He was a kicker who went to Michigan. He was a
Yep.
third round draft pick in 2023 from the San Francisco 49ers and washed out. How can a guy who was so good in college that the San Francisco 49ers made him a kicker, a
Right.
third round draft pick, and the guy just washed out, man. He has a strong leg. He was always accurate. Don't know. Kickers, man, are so mental. The guy
Right. Right.
hasn't been able to get it done and stick around in the NFL, but he is on the practice squad for the Chicago Bears, and he has kicked in regular games for them. Your man Colton Loveland, who
Yep.
was a first round draft pick for the Bears this year from Michigan, the guy we
Hmm.
thought would have great impact on their team this year. He's participated in this rivalry. And Jonah Jackson, their starting guard, was a third round draft pick in 2020, actually for the Detroit Lions.
Hmm.
So Jonah Jackson participates in this rivalry. All guys who are playing important roles on their team, right?
Right.
Uh, the Green Bay Packers. Who do the Packers have that's been this rivalry?
Rashawn Gary comes to mind for me. I
It's
mean that guy,
amazing. He's the only guy
right?
uh, for for the Packers that participated in this rivalry, right? How do
Yeah,
the Packers not have any Ohio State players, right? But yeah,
exactly.
Rashawn Gary was a first round draft pick in 2019 for the Packers. And then the Minnesota Vikings are full of guys.
They got a number of guys from Josh Metellus to Donovan Jackson,
Yeah,
Jeff Okuda. Yeah, they
yeah.
got they got a couple guys over there.
Yeah, from Michigan, they have, like you said, Josh Metellus, one of my favorite players, man. Just a versatile dude who goes out and gets it done for them, right? Jeff Okuda, who was a first round draft pick, the third overall pick in 2020 for the Detroit Lions,
Right, right,
who's still in this league, who is a player, just not a guy worthy of being the third overall pick, right?
right.
But he's a Jag. He's just a guy, but he's able to stick around and contribute, right? And then JJ, the quarterback, was
Yep,
a 2024 first round draft pick for the Minnesota Vikings. And then you mentioned Donovan Jackson, first round pick for the Vikings, playing center for them.
right.
So far, my man has been struggling, right?
Yeah,
But it's hard for a guy to come in. I'm sorry, he's playing guard for them. I think he played some center at Ohio State, but he's playing guard for them. But interior line, tough position for a rookie to come in and play. He's had
right.
some struggles early on. I expect my man to get better. He's a road grader, so I expect him to be good in the run game at some point.
Yeah.
And then Nick Vernett, backup tight end. Uh, Tight ends are just great athletes to me, man. He's a
Hmm,
2025
hmm.
pick on this team, but he has stuck around. So, yeah, there are 13, 7, I'm sorry, 14, 7 Michigan players and 7 Ohio State players that are active in this division right now. So
Nice.
yeah, you can see that there are a lot of core players too. You know, I always
Right.
talk about the core of your team or the guys closest to the football, right? And you heard as we were going through those names, a lot of offensive linemen, a lot of defensive linemen, a lot of tight ends, right?
Hmm.
Guys who are close to the football that play football, right? That play the
Right.
game.
Yep.
And that's the way both of these teams play. Always physical, run game first, and explosion in the pass game.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they have players on defense who are mobile, agile, and hostile, right?
Yes.
Who
Yes.
get to the ball, bring noise, and are nasty.
Yes. Especially recently.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about some of the players on the current team who look like they could be NFL players and where they might fit in on a team in the black and blue division.
Yeah. So Ohio State's got a number of individuals. The number one that comes to mind for me is Tate at wide receiver. We talk about it every week about how Green Bay doesn't have any receivers and they're still looking for a number one. He would
They
fit.
don't need a number one.
Yeah, he would fit in really well there, right?
Why,
And
how does
then
this school keep producing such great receivers, man?
I don't
Um,
know.
Emeka Nabuka, Marvin Harrison, man. What's your man's name? Terry McLaurin. Where
Yep,
do Ohio State
yep,
keep
yep.
getting all
You
these
you
dudes,
you're
man?
uh, you're forgetting Jackson Smith
Jackson Smith-Njigba. That's who I was when I was mentioning Abuka. I was actually thinking about
Smith.
Smith-Njigba.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they get all these receivers from, but man,
Their receivers coach, um, his son played in the NFL. Can't think of his name right now, but he's been there forever, man. Doing a great job. They're coaching up receivers at that school.
yeah, yeah. And then for Ohio State, they have a tight end, Max Clare. Um, I think he would be a nice fit in Minnesota. I know they have some injuries at tight end, and you never know how that's going to come about when someone's coming off an injury. But yeah, that would probably be a good fit for him. And Avril Reese as a linebacker edge. Yeah, any of the teams in the NFC North would love to have a linebacker edge, especially coming from Ohio
Anybody,
State.
right? Yes, an athletic dude from Ohio State. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And then I don't think I mentioned that Caleb Downs, the safety. He might be their top prospect coming up out of Ohio. So
Caleb Downs might be the top prospect in the draft, right?
right,
He
right.
may not be the top overall pick, but people are, what's my man's name? People are saying he's better than Kyle Hamilton
Okay.
from with Baltimore, right? Saying he's a better prospect than Hamilton was, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you
So
see he's a difference
again,
maker. So
yeah,
yeah,
we could say any of the teams in the NFC North, but specifically the Lions and the Bears could use a really, really good safety, right? Even if
yes,
even if you
yes,
need the depth, right?
yes. because you always do, right?
Right.
Top end, you never have enough top end football players, regardless of what position they play, right?
Hmm.
Derek Moore from Michigan, an edge rusher, I think will stick somewhere in this league, right? And like you said, any team can use an edge rusher, right?
Right,
So
right.
I think he could play for any team in the division. Um, the only guy on offense, um, Dante Moore. No, Dante, I'm sorry. I confused the name. Dante Moore is actually the quarterback at Oregon, but he's from Detroit, right?
Hmm.
And so is the kid Underwood who plays at Michigan, right? I
Right.
confused the two of them because they were both big names in this area at the time. So sometimes I will confuse the two of them. But aside from Underwood on offense, the only guy Michigan really has right now who looks like a difference maker or who looks like he could play at the next level is Justin Haynes, the running back.
Mm.
I think either Green Bay or Minnesota could use a David Montgomery back. I see him as a David Montgomery type.
Yeah.
The issue is he's a junior and he might not come out this year, right? He might go back to school. It's one of the reasons I think he's not listed highly with a lot of people because
Yeah.
he might go back to school next year, thinking that the team has a chance with Underwood with another year, that they
Right.
may have a chance to be a better team. But we'll get to that
Yep.
in
Yep.
a minute. But yeah, I think there are a number of players. What I am disappointed with in Michigan, I don't see a lot of top end talent that looks like they could be NFL players at some point.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, Usually we see more at Michigan, and it could be because a lot of their NFL caliber players are young players, are underclassmen, and we
Hmm.
don't see a lot of them featured. It could be why it appears to be we have a discrepancy right now with these two teams when it comes to top end talent.
Yeah, and I think some of the previous players went a little early into the league. Players like Blake Corum and um, even I think Colston was even a early.
Colston was, Corum wasn't, but Colston was. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
Colston could be on this team. This team would be a better team if Colston was on this team. I agree with you.
Right, 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 right. And usually when you look around the league overall, Michigan produces some offensive linemen. Like they they do a really good job of developing linemen. So
Core football players, right? These
yeah,
guys who
yeah,
are close to the football.
yep. So like
Offensive
you said,
linemen and tight ends. Michigan has
yeah,
a lot of offensive linemen and tight ends in the league.
right, right. So like you said, maybe in a year or two we'll start to see those numbers jump up, and especially if the Wolverines are doing really, really well under Bryce Underwood. So, well,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see it. It'll definitely move the needle once they get a good handle of what type of player Bryce is, and being able to win more games and be more of a marquee team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, right now, Ohio State has 57 players on NFL rosters, and
Hmm.
Michigan has 44 players on
Yeah.
NFL rosters.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
I think, so you can see both schools are definitely well represented. I think Ohio State has a slightly better recruiting base than Michigan has, right? I think Southern Ohio is basically SEC territory, right? So a lot of kids who go to those Southern Ohio schools are really high level players. I just
Hmm.
think they have a better recruiting base. And then they've got Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Toledo. They have larger centers, right? Larger
Right.
metropolitan areas, if you will.
Right. Right.
They have more of them than Michigan does. So they have more
Yes.
concentration of players. So I think they have access to a little bit better talent. The better Michigan teams to me have always been teams that have recruited Northern Ohio very
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
yeah,
That's
I think
right.
we'll continue to see players from both of these schools uh, active on NFL rosters on Sunday.
Yes.
All right, man. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the game. The 119th edition of Michigan versus Ohio State. Tell me, my man, how do you see this game playing?
Well, it's going to be a high scoring game, even though Ohio's defense is out here just crushing everybody, all the opponents. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Ohio doesn't really have a lot of strength when it comes to the rushing game, but their passing game has been on point. And I think for Michigan to be in this, they gotta rely on Bryce Underwood and his explosive play and throwing the ball and getting the ball out there to the receivers. So I see it as a high scoring game. I don't have a prediction on the score, but I just see it being where they gotta each team is relying heavily on the pass, right? And I think for Michigan they can run the ball
Mhm.
and maybe get into some situations where they're doing play action passes and things like that to limit the amount of risk that Underwood has to take. But
Mhm.
man, I mean, sometimes he looks like a baby Cam Newton to me. So, uh,
Sometimes he looks like baby Cam Newton, and sometimes he looks like a baby, right?
yeah, right, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I I think this game will actually be a low scoring game. I think this game will be a
Okay.
lot more like last year's game, right? I think Michigan's going to try to control the game with their run game, right? It's what Michigan does. I think they're trying to bring the young quarterback along slowly with their run game. And as the season has gone along, the offensive line has gotten better. As you mentioned, Michigan is known for offensive linemen, right?
Right, right.
Taylor Lewan, going all the way back to Steve Hutchinson, and those kind of guys, right? They've always had effective offensive lines. Their national championship team was a run-oriented team with Blake Corum. I think you will see them try to um, limit possessions for Ohio State. Ohio State has they have the better quarterback. They have the better skill position players overall, right? So how do you attack that? You don't necessarily attack that with your defense. You attack that with your offense by limiting their opportunities so that when they get opportunities, they are anxious, right? They know we haven't had the ball for 20 minutes of elapsed time, even though it's only been 7 minutes of game time, right? Now
Right.
they step on the field, they're looking to make something happen, and they're playing anxious. Getting Ohio State to play anxious is, I think, Michigan's only path to victory in this game. This game usually comes down to uh, the emotion of the game. I talk a lot about that all the time, right?
Hmm.
You talk about our eras for this game, our favorite eras for this game. One of my favorite eras was the 90s. I don't know if you recall all of those Ohio State teams, all of those John Cooper led teams that were top four teams
Yep.
coming in against a Michigan team ranked somewhere 8 to 12, and Michigan would take them down, right?
Yep.
This game appears to be one of those kind of games, right? Where Ohio State is a heavy favorite. Even like last year, Ohio State was a heavy favorite, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Came into this game, but a team comes in with the emotion. They play with intensity, and it is one day, right? Me versus you for one day. Let's get it on. I expect one of those games. I expect a close game. I expect Ohio State 21, Michigan 13.
Okay. Now the way I look at it though, I just feel like the score is going to be a lot higher than that.
Mhm.
But I do have it as a tight game with Ohio State winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because they've lost what, three in a row? Ohio State to Michigan.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So at some point you would think they can get one, But again, Michigan has been able to shock them in the past.
Right.
And that kid, Bryce Underwood, he's a unique individual. Like he's got some moxie, some juice to him. He's a big time player. This might be the breakout game for him, right? To go from phenom high school player to a legit college player and put him on the Heisman Trophy track for the next 2 years. This could be the game.
Yeah, see that's my concern about him is this is his first time in a big time college football game, right?
Yeah,
A freshman. Taylor Lewan asked the question. I saw him on ESPN early in the season, maybe first or second game, asking somebody else on the panel, "Is Bryce Underwood generational? Is he a generational talent?" And as I say all the time, there's a reason they call a person a generational talent because there's only one of them that comes along in a generation.
right, right.
There ain't that many generational talents. They don't come along every year. So is he generational? I don't even think is a fair question to ask about the young man, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Can the young man be a difference maker? I think is a fair question to ask about him, right? And
exactly.
so far, he doesn't look like it. He
That's
hasn't looked like it.
yeah, and that's why I say this could be that game that pushes him up that next level, right?
But when you look at his history and the fact that he started as a freshman at one of the top high schools in the state of Michigan and won state championships his freshman and sophomore year. And when he left the field as a junior, his team was leading, except that Southfield had a kid, because I was watching that game. Southfield had a kid who just went off, and Belleville's defense couldn't do anything with him, and they came back and won the game, right?
Right, right,
That kid was 36 seconds short of winning three consecutive state championships, right?
right. Yep.
So yeah, he looks like he can be a difference maker. His
Yeah.
history says he can develop into that kind of player. He just hasn't looked like it yet, right?
And the other part of it is that he's a Michigan product too, so he knows what the rivalry is.
He knows what this game is about, right?
Right,
Yes, he
right.
does. Yes, he does.
Yeah. I'll
Um,
be surprised if he gets any sleep this whole week.
I agree. I agree, and I think we talked about yeah, the history, and I was just talking about those teams in the '90s. I thought that was what the issue was with all of those teams, those Ohio State teams in the '90s. Uh, Recruiting wise,
Yeah.
they were higher recruited players than the guys on Michigan, but they recruited nationally. A lot of guys from Florida and from
Florida. Yep.
Louisiana who
Yep.
didn't know about this rivalry, right?
Yep.
Where
And while
Michigan had a
Michigan
lot of
was,
Michigan and Ohio kids who knew
yep,
what this deal was all about, right?
exactly.
So yeah, that's what it comes down to. This is one of those games where talent doesn't always win this game.
No, no, it doesn't
This
always
game comes
win.
down to who wants it the most, right?
Right.
And
I think in the end, that's what happens in all of these games is who wants it the most
who wants
because
it
the
the
talent,
most?
yeah, your Ohio State's ranked number one. What's Michigan ranked like 12, 13 or
Right,
somewhere?
exactly, exactly.
So you think there's an imbalance and Ohio State has more talent, but once you get on the field, the talent
This,
or or
this
the
isn't the
or
right.
do you want it?
This isn't Ohio State versus Morehouse, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
This isn't
There's
even
talent on
Ohio
both
State
sides.
and Northwestern, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Michigan may be every bit the academic school Northwestern is, but it is far superior athletically, right?
Yep.
With
Yep.
all of their sports teams. So yeah, I am looking forward to another iteration of this game, man. I'm looking forward to the intensity of it. This one will be in the big house. Some of the worst college football fans in America, not because they are rude to the opponent, it's because they don't make enough. They got the quietest 112,000 people in college football across the landscape, man. The 80,000 in Lansing are louder than the 112,000 in Ann Arbor. They let me down every year, man. They are such front runners. They don't deserve this team and how good they are. Your fans don't deserve you. You Michigan fans don't deserve this team. You are too
Well,
arrogant.
well,
Get
they'll
behind your team.
right,
I need to hear cheering for 60 minutes
right.
because we know if it's in the horseshoe, it's loud for 60 minutes.
Oh, I mean, Michigan fan, they'll make some noise if it turns out to be a game similar to the 2016 game where it was a
Yeah.
double overtime and there was a controversy about a first down. Then you'll hear them
That
make some noise.
that was a great game though, man.
We were robbed.
But you're right. I was gonna say, if there's some controversy, you'll hear the Michigan fans
Exactly. Exactly.
loud and clear there, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, man.
Yeah, there was one stretch in this rivalry where Ohio State won 8 straight years, right? You were
Yep.
talking about Michigan has won the last 3 years, so you know Ohio State is coming to this game with some juice. Man, there were some games during those years, though, that came down to the end, and Ohio State just pulled those games out. I go all the way back to the Chad Henne game, if you remember that game,
Yeah, yeah.
where I think both of those teams come in ranked 1 and 2 in the nation,
hmm
12-0, and that game was something like 42-41, right?
Yeah.
Where Ohio State wins it at the end. So even though one team may have an advantage over the other over a period of time, all of those games are always hard fought and close. But
Yeah.
I have one guarantee for this game.
What's that?
The team who leads the game in rushing will win this game.
Okay. I like that. I
And
like
it
that.
isn't like I went out on a limb with that, because I think something like the last 43 games in this rivalry, the
hmm
team who has led in rushing has won this game. And
I
it's
mean
like
that
some ridiculous number.
that's a good indication for Michigan because they do have a better running game than Ohio State does.
Michigan is all about the run. They really do. They got, how does Michigan have no receiver? We talk about Ohio State and all the receivers they produce. How does Michigan have none? I actually think Bryce Underwood's season would look a lot better if he had some athletes on the
He
outside. He's
he would
got
yeah.
none.
Yeah, definitely there's been a significant number of drop passes
Oh my God.
this season, so he would have a lot better numbers
He
if he
would
had
look,
receivers that could
his
hold on to the
season would be a
ball.
lot better if they had some
Yeah. The other
talent.
angle to this game I wanted to mention is Ohio State is number one in the nation. A loss, it's not going to do much to them.
A loss with the college playoff, a loss does nothing.
It does nothing for them. So Michigan has everything to gain, however, if they beat Ohio State, and then that will elevate them into the playoff picture.
You,
So,
you you bring up a good point there. The
yeah.
playoff implications in this game.
hmm
My whole thought is, I think Michigan's out. I think they're on the outside looking in. I
Right
don't
now they
see
are.
them. I don't see them winning this game.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But that's a motivation for them
Winning
to,
this game puts them into the Big Ten championship game, which
yeah.
to me would automatically, whether win or lose, should
Yeah.
get them into the playoff, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's the motivation for the Wolverines, right? Where for Ohio State, this could just be a trap game for them, right?
It
Where they just,
would be a trap game for anybody other than Michigan, right? If it wasn't the rivalry game, I would
hmm
agree with you. If this was Michigan State or Penn State that Ohio State was playing, I would agree with you 100%. They're not letting Michigan sneak up on them, right?
I'm just saying it could be sneaky motivation right there for U of M.
They're,
Like
yeah,
we can
their
win this
eyes are not
game, we win
closed
the
to
next
Michigan.
game, we're into the playoffs. That's all. That's all, man. But yeah.
But yeah, man, that's about all I had on this game, man. You got anything else that you want to close out with as it relates to the game itself?
No, I think we covered it pretty much, man. We covered everything that I wanted to get through on this
Yeah, I
rivalry. I'm
just,
excited
like I
about
said,
it, you know.
I love this game, man. I remember Jim Harbaugh guaranteeing a victory over Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
I remember Carter. What was Carter's? Anthony Carter and the big punt return against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Desmond Howard and the
Desmond Howard.
Heisman pose is
Yep. Yep.
classic in this rivalry, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
There's
about
been
Eddie George, Heisman Trophy winner, coming into this game and getting outrushed by a guy named Kamunga Biaka Batuka.
there's some legends in the game, man.
This has been
Legends
a
in the rivalry.
legendary game, bro. This has been a great game, and I
Yeah,
look forward to another iteration of it this week, man. I
absolutely.
cannot wait.
Absolutely.
All right, so go ahead and put a bow tie on this thing, man. Even though
Yes,
we're doing it
sir.
both casual today,
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah.
and wrap it up for us today, my man.
Yep, yep. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We know that you could be doing anything else besides watching this bonus pod about Michigan Ohio
Yeah,
State rivalry.
yeah.
For us, it's a great time. We're looking forward to the game. And when we're not talking football, Will and I are real estate agents. So if you need any help buying, selling, or investing, just reach out to us. Guys, share the pod with your buddies. Ladies, share it with your crew. Hit that subscribe button. Don't be a knucklehead. Drop us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, drop that rating. Hey, I want to give a shout out to some people I talked to this week who told me they've enjoyed the show. My man Jason didn't know he was listening. I appreciate you, my guy. And my brother, Sebastian Charles McCann. I love you, boy. And I will talk to you later. And we are out, and we will see you next time.
Yes, sir.